Hi, I'm Caitlin Parker, and I'm a filmmaker and video editor from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. That's such a deep, difficult question.
In 2 minutes.
Does art, what's the question again? Does art reflect life?
Life, yeah, or vice versa. Is life reflecting art?
I'd say yes, probably, like both ways, in
Okay.
like both directions. Like I don't know, at least in my life, that's how it's been. Like life reflects art and then art reflects life, especially art reflects life. They're like, as a kid, I'd always think of things in an artistic manner. I was never good at math. So I always found ways of learning visually. Visual learning is my thing. And it's just the visual aspect, everything. I feel like even if you're just looking at a leaf flying in the air, like that's that iconic shot in Forrest Gump with the feather. That, like, that's such a simple thing in life. You're looking at it, but hey, that's on a iconic film as well, and it's just something that you could see every day. Maybe not a feather, but a leaf. So art reflects life, life reflects art. I don't know if that made much sense, but
There's no right or wrong answer with that. That's such a circular question, right? But
yeah, same with music. Like anything could be music. Like that could be music.
That's right.
You could manipulate it digitally. Do anything with that. So
well, listen, where are you on? Interesting enough, I'm glad I got you on. Where are you? Is a TikTok video considered to be a short film?
I wouldn't consider it a short film, but then I'd turn around and say YouTube is considered a short film, depending on, I guess for me, depending on like the composition of it, like how it's done. If it's like, welcome to my channel, today we're going to be talking about whatever, like, to me, I think, okay, that's the beginning, and then the middle is like they're talking about the thing, and then the end is, okay, if you like this video, like, press the like button, subscribe, whatever. I feel like it's got structure. That's the word. It's got structure. Whereas TikTok, some of the stuff, it's just like, I watched this really stupid but funny video my friend sent me the other day, and it's this dude, he's just standing there, and then he's swearing, and then a piece of wood hits him in the head, and he's like, oh damn, or something. I'm like, okay, like what did I just watch? So I mean, there's lots of films where you come out thinking, what did I just watch?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if I'd consider that a film, because it doesn't really have a story arc, or it doesn't have any structure to it. It's just kind of like dude standing.
Yeah. You're right. Listen, I don't think that these, I guess, like gag reels or these like slapstick, 30-second things are short film. But I do think that some stuff that people do, like I watch, speaking of that, and I'm not on TikTok, but speaking of that, I watch in this short 60-second video had everything that you want, because it had music. And then what it was simple as this. It was like a guy and a girl. They were walking to a basketball court, and the guy was ignoring her. And it was very slapstick. Like, he blocked her basketball, but then when he blocked the basketball, he blocked it into this very handsome guy. And then she left him for this new guy. And then, but they were playing like this love song, like, I left him, so everything, like, it was very, very structured. It was very structured.
Then I'd say, well, maybe I should rephrase, or I guess restructure what I was saying.
Okay.
I guess TikTok videos, I shouldn't generalize, because what you just described, that has a story. Yes. And yes, technically that could be a short film of some sort, but I wouldn't consider the one that, like the example that I gave,
right,
a short film.
Right.
I mean, it's got a genre, but I wouldn't consider that as a short film. But I consider what you described, definitely, yeah. That could be a film of some sort. To me, I wouldn't say it's
no. Trust me, it didn't reach the level of anything, right? Like it was garbage to say that it was shot on the iPhone, but I still thought it was very hilarious. I thought it was well done. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, and like there are some people that really take it seriously, and for some people it's their career. So like, okay, sure, but I guess that's more like content creation. Huge fan.
Oh, absolutely. That's some funny stuff.
Yes, I like slapstick. I like my slapstick comedy. Yes.
Yeah. Is that your favorite genre? Is comedy?
Comedy and horror.
Everybody's on the horror bandwagon. What's up with the horror? Like, what? Listen, I'm not saying that they have some great stuff in it, right? But tell me why that resonates.
Yeah. Well, for me, okay. Well, with horror, I don't know what it is. I kind of just, I want to be scared crapless. Like I want to be scared out of my pants in order like to enjoy a horror movie. And I don't know if it's just like the adrenaline that I get from watching it. Like I hate roller coasters. I hate that kind of thing. But when I'm watching a horror movie, it's different, but it's also probably the same kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Like something coming, and then all of a sudden it's, it depends on how the movie's directed, of course. Like Paranormal Activity, all those movies are just the same thing where it's like something's happening. Yeah. Like you can kind of predict, like it's when something's going to happen. They're really predictable.
Yeah.
I like the Conjuring series. That's amazing because the visuals are just like, okay, I can't sleep for 2 weeks, but that's what I want.
well, wait, don't. They're getting ready to have a new release, right? Or they had a new release of Conjuring.
I think they're getting ready for a new release. But they have a bunch out, and I think the latest one I watched was The Nun.
Okay.
I was kind of behind because I kind of fell behind since the pandemic, but that one I think was late 2019, and it's about like basically it tells you the story of where that creepy nun came from, and like I think the character's name is Valak. Or Valak, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay.
And she comes up in the other films, but she doesn't have her own dedicated film until you watch The Nun. That's all about her origin story. And that one, the visuals are great, but for me, like the scare factor, I could tell when she was coming. Because there was always this like, there was this low, rumbly, like symphony almost type sound, and I'm like, okay, something's gonna happen, and then boom, and then everything is like reset, and then that I don't like because that kind of ruins it for me. But everyone's different.
Well, do you think that because you've gone to film school and you're actually creating films or making films, do you think that is the reason why you kind of suspect or know when something is coming up, or no?
No, I think it's just because I've watched a lot of horror movies as a teen.
Okay.
As a preteen, my friend and I, we would always like, this was when Netflix wasn't super popular to have. We had it on my Wii. That's how long ago, and we would watch that. Like we would go on Netflix and we watch all the indie stuff.
Yeah.
But nobody, like, and we'd watch all of that, and some of it was really good, some of it was garbage, and that's what got us into the horror movie genre. And then after, like now, I'm able to watch like the really horrifying stuff, or horrifying, I guess, that way. So I guess we've kind of trained ourselves to know when something's coming because we've just watched so many of them. So.
Now, how important is plot to you in that genre?
It's very important, but I think it's just as important as the scare factor.
Okay.
To me, because like I want to know, like it needs to make sense, and I want to know, like I think the more interesting the plot line, the easier it is to watch, even if it isn't like super super scary. Like I think I really like that, because then if you're not scared, you can like, I mean, this is what my friend and I do. You don't have to do this, but we like to Google the ending and figure out, okay, why did it end this way? And then puzzle back while we're watching the movie. And it's an analytical thing. And
yeah, absolutely.
Not people are into that, but that's what we like to do. So if the plot line's really interesting, we're like, oh, okay, let's go back and like figure out, okay, that character's a bad guy, this one's a good guy. Oh, crap, what's gonna happen to that one? And so yeah, but I'd say the plot is just as important as like the whole like scare factor. Like The Exorcist, it was really long, but it was really, I really like the story, and like it's got a good story arc, but it's also horrifying.
Yes, very.
Yeah, so I like that the two come together, and it works well for me, and I guess that's why it did so well.
Yeah. So are you able to look at movies as a fan now, given the fact that you've kind of gone through the filmmaking process?
Yes, I'm still able to. I mean, I don't typically watch the mainstream stuff like Star Trek. I'm not interested.
Okay.
But like some of the other stuff, like I like a lot of like 80s films, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like that's also
but that's a classic though. Like, you know what I mean? Like that stands on its own. It's so hard to have another movie in that class. Yeah.
Like I really like the older classics, like that kind of genre. And so when I watch those, I think, okay, yeah, I can really get into these and really enjoy them. Whereas if it's a film that I'm not really into or that I have to watch, like Pulp Fiction, I was like, okay, I'll analyze this, whatever, and just, you know. And one of our instructors, our sound design instructor, he taught me a cool trick. He's like, if you don't like what you're watching, he's like, try and like listen to the soundtrack or something.
Okay.
Or, like try and like, you know, observe like all the camera angles or something. And I'm like, you know, that's a really good idea to keep me occupied.
Yeah. Look at it from a technical aspect, right? Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a shorter way of saying.
Yeah. So why film school? Why'd you decide to become a filmmaker?
Well, ever since I was 11 or 12, I had a YouTube channel that I wanted to keep up with, and I watched YouTube. Like I even watched it before then, and I just thought it was so cool, and so I decided to make my own channel. I asked my mom for permission, and she's like, just don't show your face and you can do it. And so I did like these beauty guru type videos. Like Michelle Phan, she's a very famous beauty guru. She's now under the hood though, because she doesn't want to deal with all the drama. But she was a really huge inspiration for me to turn to that medium. And so I did that, and I thought, okay, I want to make my videos like hers. So, you know, I built up my following. I got about, I think, 100 or 130 subscribers max until
that's big.
That's a lot for a kid. And
yeah.
And then so like I really put a lot of work into it. And then I just kind of gave up on it. I was like, okay, I'm done. No more. I don't want to do this anymore. So that was when I was getting into high school, and then, you know, freshman year and stuff. And then once I kind of grew out of that, I still kept watching YouTube, and I really enjoyed it. And I knew that I could edit, because when I was making videos for YouTube at the time, I was, you know, my parents, they even invested in getting me an iMac all spec'd out for Final Cut and iMovie. And so I had all of that stuff there. I had used it, I was familiar with it, and I thought, I really like this. And then in high school, I took a media arts course, and that made me, you know, revisit that whole content creation, filmmaking, video editing world. And I thought, I really like doing this, but I shouldn't be allowed to do this because this isn't a real career. So I went to a Catholic high school. So it was more academic based, but I mean, of course, but still, I really enjoyed going to school there, and I really enjoyed all my electives that I took. I'm a very artistic person. So when I finished the media arts course, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to go to university and just become a teacher and do what everyone else is doing. And so I went to university for 1 year, and not for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the environment. I don't like having to sit in a lecture hall with like 250 other people that I don't know, because I'm an extrovert. So I really like to get to know people and make friends and stuff. And I was very alone during that year, and I wasn't able to make very many friends. The friends that I did have weren't in any of my classes. So it was really hard to it was really hard to have a social life.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized, okay, I need to get out of here and figure something out. And so I looked up some film schools, found the one that I'm going to now, which I don't really want to disclose for privacy reasons, but
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do really I'm really happy with my decision, and I don't regret it. I want to, I mean, because I graduate in like 2 weeks. So
Oh, well, congratulations.
thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. But I want to get into feature films at some point. But right now I really like video editing, and I want to do lots of editing work, whether it's for short films, feature films. Kind of want to stay away from corporate and marketing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to pay bills, I will do it, because it's still better than sitting in an office with a bunch of paperwork.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I really want to get into documentary work as well, and music, like music videos, working with artists, doing electronic press kits for them, lots of advertisements for them, like through Sony Music maybe, or like what is it, Warner Music or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Warner Music.
Yeah. So I really want to get into artists that are signed with those particular labels, because I know like Celine Dion is hugely influential to me, and she's with Sony Music Canada.
Okay.
I thought, well, I'd love to
Yeah.
film her behind the scenes, or like film an ad for her, and have it played in Vegas or something, because she's always performing in Vegas.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
editing is I would think it would be an introvert trait, right? Or no?
Yeah, kind of, but I don't know, like I agree with what you're saying, but for me it's just, I don't think about it that way. I think of it more like it's like pottery, and it's just you're in your own world and you're figuring this out. Yeah. It is a great thing, yes, but
yeah,
I like it. I really like it, and it's totally my thing. And I feel like it's pottery, because like I think about it like this: if you take all the media, like all the footage that out of the camera, and put it into your computer, that's the clay that you're starting out with. And then when you put it in the timeline, cut it up, add all your stuff to it, and color it and everything, add sound, that's you like molding it. And then once you hit render, that's like, I guess it's also kind of like baking. You press render and you turn the oven on for an hour.
Yeah. Well, I think it's actually a little bit more creative than baking, but I hear what you're saying. It's almost like creating a piece of work.
Yeah. Like there's more to it than just, well, I'm gonna go out and shoot with this camera and tell people where to put the camera. That's like, because that's how I feel like that's how a lot of people see filmmaking, as like, oh yeah, just gonna go out and shoot some stuff, and then
And you mean those people? You mean people who haven't gone to film school, or you're?
Well, no, it's more like people who just don't know anything about film in general.
Okay.
Like just the average person that isn't.
Yeah, that's right. Include great movies. But what do you think is the formula for good movies? Is it, good acting, good script writing, cinematography, or do all three of those things have to come together? Where are you on that?
I'd say a little bit of everything would have to come together on that, especially the music and the sound in it, and the way music and sound are used in it, because music and sound play such a huge role in film. That's just what I think. And I mean, I don't like silent films. I want sound. I don't want to play on the piano, like whatever song that is supposed to be played. Like I want an actual soundtrack. I want dialogue, not too much, but yeah, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like you're kind of watching somebody communicate. That's yeah. I don't really know how to explain.
It's funny that you say that, because you are the second person within a very, very short time frame to say that music is important to, or music soundtrack, as well as I guess the musical, I guess that would be the composition, I guess. They bought, another young lady said the same thing. Like she felt like that was important to a movie. Yeah,
because like, okay, you don't have to have dialogue, I guess, necessarily.
That's right.
Tell an excellent story through music, like visual storytelling. Mm-hmm. But you didn't have any music or sound in that, I'm almost positive nobody would watch it, or there'd be very few people that would want to watch it. So it's just about the visuals in front of you. And I guess that's what's so fascinating to me about ASMR as well, because there's sound and and there's picture. So when you're watching, like if you see some viral ASMR video on YouTube, you think that looks interesting or that looks satisfying. Well, the sound mixed in with the picture is bringing in that marriage of sound and picture, and it's affecting you in either a positive or negative way.
I agree.
I really think that's super important. And I even do that because like I do photography on the side, just with my phone, but iPhones, they can produce a lot of cool looking photos if you do it the way that works for you, and if you edit your photos and stuff. But I post them on my Instagram story sometimes, and I'll use like the sticker functions that they have.
Yeah.
Like there's a music sticker that you can put, and I'll pick that, and then I'll pick I'll pick a song that I feel strongly goes with the emotion of that photo, or how I was feeling at the moment or at the time that I was taking that photo.
That's cool.
And
that's cool.
Yeah. To me, I think that it's just like make the visuals look appealing, and you put in the music, and then my friends are even like, hey, that looks really cool. I'm like, thanks. And like,
yeah,
I feel there was no sound, at least to me. When there's no sound, I'm like, okay, that's kind of boring.
Well, but yeah, especially on Instagram with the stories. I agree with that. And let's talk about a great movie. Do you think great movies are good movies that accidentally happen to be great? Or do you think like, no, like everything was where it was supposed to be?
I don't know. For me, I think it's all about, I think it could be also like luck as well for the director or the producer, because there's a lot of really talented artists, like actors and stuff that are in that. And like a film that I watched recently is called Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Curtis, yeah. And those three are crazy talented, and I really enjoy films with those actors in it, or in them. And so that film, I thought, okay, well, this is a pretty good movie. Like, it's, and I thought, okay, well, the story, that's good. The actors, that's good. The visuals, that's good. I think it's a little bit of everything again. Like,
well, that was a masterpiece of a movie, though. Like Ferris Bueller, Trading Places, those were all masterpieces. But I guess in my mind, I think a lot of that is luck, because you cast Dan Aykroyd, you cast Eddie Murphy, and the young lady, what was her name?
Jamie
Lee Curtis. Like, you still don't know what you're going to get, right? Like at the end of the day, you're thinking, hey, these people are mega talented, uber talented. Let me see what I can get, right? And I think it's a lot of luck. I think they're good movies that kind of accidentally turn to be great.
Lots of risk taking, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like with Ferris Bueller, that film, Matthew Broderick, like.
Yeah, and I don't think he's ever been in another good movie. Even though I think he got credit for being in Glory. I don't necessarily, I don't think he's been anything close to Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, and like that really defined almost like a generation. And
it
same
did.
With Breakfast Club, something like that.
It did, yeah.
And Dirty Dancing, that's a great film.
Yeah,
that's a great film.
Yeah.